The Poet X is my third novel, right? But it's the first one published. I started the Poet X in 2012 when I was an 8th grade English teacher, and I got about 40 pages in and realized I don't know how to write fiction. I've written nothing but poems my whole life. All of a sudden I'm trying to write a book. Like, that's a different beast. And I'm trying to write a book in verse through poems. I'm like, nah, bro, I ain't built for this. And so I was like, okay, well, what do I want to write that I think could sustain a story? And I started writing a fantasy novel about a witch born in New York that travels back to DR to learn her witchcraft. There's this huge academy in El Campo. It's like Harry Potter, but like in Bonao, right? And so I'm writing this story, and I spend 2.5 years. This is why I'm getting my master's. So I'm working on a poetry thesis. I'm supposed to be writing poetry, but on the low, I'm writing this like witch fantasy. 2.5 years on the metro, late at night, 1 million texts on my phone, like just in my notes app. And I feel good about this book. I'm like, this is gonna be dope. And I send it to an agent that I've been following for a while, who I love. I love who her clients are, what she publishes, what she says. I'm like, this is my dream agent. This is gonna be amazing. She's read my work already. She says she likes it, like other poems and things. So I send her this manuscript, and she hits me back and she's like, yo, Liz, this isn't good. And sends me 4 pages of notes, which agents don't do that. When they reject a manuscript, they reject it. She believed enough in my voice to say, I think you could make this better, but this isn't good. And when I'm telling you 2.5 years, every day, working on a project, to have someone be like, yo, this is kind of trash, was heartbreaking. I just wept. I wept, because I felt like this was such a story I wanted to tell, but I knew she was right. Like, when I read the notes, I'm like, I didn't put this narrative together. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna try something else. Worked on a second book about a young woman, a teen chef, who's also a mom in Philadelphia. I work on that, a little bit better than the first book. And then I returned to the Poet X. And I was like, I think I'm ready to tell this story now. But that was 4 years. This book got signed in 2016, and it came out in 2018. That's 6 years where I'm working on a thing without knowing if anyone is ever going to read it, without knowing if anyone is gonna buy it or like it or want it. That's a long time to focus on a project without having any sense if anyone cares. But it was this fundamental belief of, I can do this. I need to teach myself how, but I know I can do this, right? And I think sometimes you have to receive the feedback of, yo, this isn't good. But you don't wallow, right? You move on to the next project. Okay, this isn't as good, but it's a little bit better. You move on to the next project. I know my second book is gonna be stronger than my first. I know my third book is gonna be stronger than my second, because I'm always thinking about the next thing. How am I better for myself? How do I up my game? But that is hard in that first phase. I could have easily been like, yo, fuck this. I spent so many years and this person doesn't like it. And so I think that kind of quote unquote failure of having to start something brand new and say, I believe in it, taught me a lot about this is what you're supposed to be doing.